Talk the walk.
False Teacher Tuesday.
On
AM 980. KKMS. More Spirited Talk Radio.
And here's
Pete Bush. Alrighty, it's False Teacher Tuesday. Let's get back to a little Robert Schuller, shall we? Let's see how much of this we can take. As he's preaching about the goodness, the fruit, the spiritual, the fruit of the Spirit, goodness. And where he's taken us from this is how to make a right decision in life. That's what he's preaching about somehow.
My apologies to you who sit here and you had a child commit suicide or a spouse.
Oh, good.
Many suicides are not the intention of an individual. They're under chemical control.
Oh, good job, Robert. That's good.
Apologize. But what I have to say is said, and it's true. Suicide is the ultimate act of selfishness. Sacrifice
Not always.
is the ultimate act of self-giving love for something bigger and more beautiful than you are by yourself alone. Who killed Jesus? Nobody.
God.
He made the sacrifice because he loves me and he loves you. And I was so thrilled that you see this profound character coming through, but it was a struggle for him. I mean, if the sacrifice wasn't hard to make, it probably did not have much value.
Let me read you a quote from Robert Schuller. The classic interpretation of this teaching of Christ on bearing our cross desperately needs reformation. Christ was the world's greatest possibility thinker. Do we dare follow him? You're kidding. That's what... Get ready for this. Let's go back to the cross and Robert Schuller. Robert Schuller stated, Jesus knew his worth. His success fed his self-esteem. He suffered the cross to sanctify his self-esteem. And he bore the cross to sanctify your self-esteem. And the cross will sanctify the ego trip. That from Living Positively One Day at a Time, page 201. That was the reason for the cross? He did it so that he could satisfy his ego and ours? That's love?
If you didn't have to sweat drops of blood as he did in the Garden of Gethsemane saying, God, not my will. I, as a human, don't want to do this. If it's possible, let this cup pass from me. The only one who could make that possible was Jesus himself.
Make what possible?
Painful decision.
What?
That's where character's formed. And you know, where are you? You and I aren't Jesus. We're not facing a decision this week on whether or not we're going to make a sacrifice and have a funeral and be dead in a week. We're not there. I doubt if anybody is. Maybe somebody is. But you are in the crossroads of life every day.
By the way, do you remember what the Bible verse is, which is the premise for this sermon? Goodness as a part of the fruit of the Spirit. Do you remember that? Does this have anything to do with, do you even kind of see a thread going through this? By the way, nice that he talks about Jesus and actually uses the name Jesus. I got to tell you, there's been some Robert Schuller writings and some preaching where he never mentions the name of Jesus Christ. So I'm glad that only Jesus could do this. Do what? Why? There's no explanation. Oh, yeah, for our self-esteem. Here's a quote from Robert Schuller on the Phil Donahue Show from 1980. Jesus had an ego. He said, I, if I be lifted up, will draw all men unto me. Wow, what an ego trip he was on.
So am I. Challenges. We do face, all of us, decisions between the good and the evil.
I just can't take it anymore. When we come back, we'll wrap it up with Robert Schuller's altar call. Oh, that's right. He told people to make a decision to become a Christian. No kidding. He really did. See if you can hear this amazing combination of Christianity and toilet water. The just horrible. Next, False Teacher Tuesday with Robert Schuller on AM 980 KKMS. More Spirited Talk Radio and Pete Bush in traffic. All right, let's wrap this up with Robert Schuller. His altar call. Let's get to it on False Teacher Tuesday. Oh, wait a second.
I'll never forget it. I was listening to the news many years ago, and it said the daughter of Oral Roberts and her husband were killed last night in a plane crash.
Oh, it was this sermon, I guess.
Leaving their little children. And it said, it's the second child of Oral to die. The son died earlier. Oh, gosh. I said, oh, I got to send him a wire. What do I tell him? Oral Roberts, think who this guy is. What do I say to him? I said, God, what do I say? And out of my fingers, holding a pen, came words on white paper.
Oh, he's inspired by God. That's something.
Dear Oral, God will have the last word, and it will be good. Wow. You're at a crossroads this morning. Where are you at? I can tell you, if you haven't made a personal relationship to God in prayer so that you can talk to him and you know he's listening, that's where you've got to begin. It's where the movie began. The prayer of Christ in Gethsemane.
All right, now here's what he just did. He just, first of all, it's all wrong anyway, but he just mixed in a motive. Believe in Jesus or God, not Jesus, but believe in God, and you'll get to pray, and God will hear you. Uh-oh. Just mix it in a little bit.
Father, all things are possible to you. If it's possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. Wow. Start there. On your knees. Give your life to God. And guess what? It will be a good life.
Ah, that's what Paul would say. It's a good life. I was shipwrecked and beaten and scourged 5 times, left for dead, hungry, shipwrecked, spent a day floating around at sea. Ah, it's a good life. Classic example. Using fruit as a draw card to salvation, mixing in what might be biblical with false motives in a man-centered gospel. False Teacher Tuesday continues. Naomi Judd gives her story at the Crystal Cathedral. I can't wait for this. Next, Talk the Walk on AM 980, KKMS.
Welcome to Talk the Walk with Todd Friel on AM 980 KKMS.
Yes, we're done. No more clips of Robert Schuller. Woo! Send your thank yous to Todd at KKMS.com. It's False Teacher Tuesday here on Talk the Walk, AM 980 KKMS. Talking about Robert Schuller, the false teacher, hearing his man-centered, don't even want to say gospel. The word does not deserve to be associated with. What he teaches is so anti-Christian. He's leading people merrily to hell. And we want to hear people like this so that we can get accustomed to hearing man-centered, and hear the combination of what might be some verses from the Bible, along with some teaching that is just, well, it's toilet water. You wouldn't drink a bottle of Evian with a little spoonful of toilet water, would you? Why would we take preaching that's mostly good with a little bit of bad in there? You wouldn't. Hey, Tony, I just want you to know, at lunchtime, I did you a big favor.
Thank you.
Yeah, I went and filled up your gas tank.
Yay!
Yeah, just put about a spoonful of oil in the tank, though.
Ooh.
What's wrong? I filled up your tank for you.
Yeah, but my engine doesn't like oil coming where the gas should be.
But it was like $15. Gas is so expensive, and I took the time and I drove over there to the Holiday and I filled up your tank.
Undercar?
You should get the point. Todd, couldn't it be any more clear if it were a button hook in the well water? Robert Schuller, bad preacher. Bad preacher. Jeff, you been to the site, have you?
Yep.
You go to Robert Schuller's website?
Oh, yes, I have.
What'd you see?
10 ways to find a church.
Oh, really?
Number 1, check the yellow pages.
Okay.
Number 2, did you read about churches in your newspaper?
Okay.
Number 7, do they